A short update on the energies. December 11, 2014. The times they are a-changing, and for so many of you, these are no longer words devoid of meaning. For not only the time, but everything about you has started to change now at such a rapid rate, you would be hard-pressed to keep up with it all. So again we say that no matter what happens in this upcoming period, try not to try at all when it comes to hanging on. In other words, allow the flow, or perhaps we should use the word flood, to take you with it, for the more you resist the harder the pressure will become. So once again the optimum option is to desist resisting and to allow the magic to unfold at its designated pace, no matter how fast-paced it may be. And believe us when we say that at times, everything around you and indeed about you will be reduced to a blur, a seemingly indistinguishable mass hurtling forward at such a speed, you will feel like no more than a cloud of particles merging with the energetic environment around you. Again we speak in parables, for what we speak of, is not of you ceasing to exist per se, but rather of an obliteration of all of the old programming that used to be you, to such a degree not even the faintest imprints of them will be able to survive this complete transition. And where will that leave you, you might ask, and rightly so. For this transition will not be without its own challenges, for remember, you have all to some degree staked out your lives according to all of these now outdated signposts, and as these will be relegated to the scrap heap alongside so many of the old components that used to constitute your very own version of reality, you might find yourself floating in a void of emptiness. For even if you dream of nothing else than to be free of everything that has been holding you down, know that as soon as you are fully liberated from these old clutches of yore, you stand there seemingly bereft of anything familiar to grasp onto. And then, we venture to guess more than a few of you will begin to struggle mightily to keep your balance. Do not think we say this in order to impart fear in any of you, rather, we say it in order to prepare you all for what lies ahead. For what lies ahead is something that will literally challenge you in ways you have never been challenged before. For even if you have taken this journey step by step in what at times seems to be an excruciatingly slow tempo, the fast-forward conveyor belt you are about to step onto now might lead a few of you into thinking back on that old pace with fondness and even longing. For now, it will no longer be a slow and gradual climb. You will be elevated so fast it will be like being thrown out into a trajectory that takes you so far above the old atmosphere, you might be apt to lose your breath for more than a few moments. Again, this is not said in order to give you a reason to hesitate before you take the plunge, for you have already taken the plunge, so what we are referring to are the first signals of the effects of this leap of faith that you have all consented to taking. Remember, this is your choice and no one else's, so our task is simply to help you better see where you will be heading in this upcoming period. For now, the sand is literally beginning to run out in the hourglass marked not only with the year 2014, but also with the coding that used to constitute not only you, but also the reality you live in. And soon, the hourglass will be turned on its head to start anew, with a new year and indeed a very new existence for so many of you. And yes, the very act of being turned on its head is also one that will apply to you. For you will find so many things literally turned not only upside down but also inside out, and every direction in between, but the world around you is not what will be the most unfamiliar and perhaps even daunting aspect to wake up to. No, what we are referring to will be your inner landscape, for that is about to change into something that will feel almost eerily unfamiliar at first. But again, it is all a process of elimination before you begin the process of reconstruction, and as such, you will all in the time ahead literally land in that void that may seem endless and almost frighteningly so at first. So know that all is well, no matter how alone you might feel, like an astronaut floating in space, fully untethered from his spacecraft with nothing in view except an endless space on all sides. But do not forget, you will not be cut off from that at all times ever-present voice within, the one that will guide you through this step of the process, the one that will guide you safely home to your new home, the one that has always been there, waiting for you to arrive. For this will be a transition period for all, longer or shorter, according to your own personal programming, and so, we wanted to take this opportunity to share a little bit about how it will be at one stage or the other in this upcoming period. For as this year comes to a close, so much more will do the same, and at times, it will be as if you are surrounded by doors slamming close or even in your face. And so, you might feel more than once that you have outstayed your welcome, but that is simply not the case. For this is all about closure, as in untethering yourselves fully from all that ever was, in this life and in the former ones, not just as individuals, but also as a part of the collective. Remember, at this stage, what you do as individuals, you also do for the collective, so we wanted to advise you yet again not to take anything personal, and we do mean that in a very literal way. For this is not about you, but about literally checking off every single remaining object, or perhaps we should say objection, from the list that needs to be completed before takeoff, if we might use such a word. For you are all on the runway now, and just like pilots you are going through every single item that must be looked into before the engines are revved and you are good to go. So for some, this will be a busy time indeed, as you have been chosen to perform quite a few of the itemized tasks remaining, while for others, you might find yourself almost unsettlingly settled already. Again, this is at all times an individually managed collective process, so it does you no good to compare yourself to others in this. Know simply that everything that happens now, does so for a reason, and the reason is all about completing everything that needs to be completed in the short time remaining before takeoff is announced. So make sure to stay connected at all times to that very center of your being, your own center of command, your very own home away from home if you will, the place that you can, and should, always turn to no matter what happens around you in the upcoming days and weeks. For that is where no questions will be asked, for there are no more questions, just a pure and loving silence that tells you beyond any shadow of a doubt that all is well and you are exactly where, and who, you are supposed to be. And that is all you will ever need to know, for then, you can simply keep breathing and continue to be you, in the way that only you can be. And that is why you are all here, to be what the very essence of you tells you to be. And when you do that, everything else will fall into place, and it will do so in a way that may take your breath away, but it will do so in the very best way you can think of. The Constant Companions. Channeled by Asia North. asianorth.wordpress.com